Let's start at the beginning. I'm facing charges. The first one you mentioned, the rape one, is already thrown out by a judge because there's no evidence of it. Secondly, it's very difficult for me to sit here and have a very frank and honest conversation with you while we're in the territory of Romania about a legal case that's going on within Romania. I have to protect myself. I've agreed to do an interview with you, and I want to be as honest with you as possible. But I can't incriminate myself in any way, and I have to be very careful with what I talk about.
There are no charges yet.
Correct, there are no charges.
There are
no charges, and I've agreed to speak to you, but I have to be as honest and frank as I can while also protecting myself and following my legal counsel.
So let's talk about what you've said yourself then. You have said on the website, for your original website for the Hustlers University, that you emotionally manipulated women to fall in love with you so that you could get them working in the sex industry for your financial gain.
As I said, I have to be very careful with what I say, but let's put it this way. No women are coming out against me and accusing me of doing it.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. Who?
There's testimony from the current investigation.
The current investigation, which I cannot discuss, which I know intimately and you don't, I can tell you right now that the women who are in this case file, there are 2 American women who have been caught already admitting they're lying, and then nobody else is accusing me of anything.
To begin with, it's very common in cases like this that the alleged victims do not always see themselves as victims.
Well, that's very interesting. It's actually extremely interesting because if I was a matrix-controlled organization and my goal was to slander somebody and try and destroy their name, you're telling me that they've chosen a crime which, 1, is heinous, of course, because it damages the person's credibility, and 2, you're saying that even if everyone else involved, if you have 5 people and everyone's sitting there saying, no, nobody's hurt anybody, we like Andrew, we've all worked together, or we're friends, etc.
That's not what everybody's saying.
No.
Let me read you some of the testimony from the current investigation.
Can I finish this?
One of the witnesses said...
Can I finish this?
You're not answering the question I've asked you. You're not answering the question I've asked you.
I am answering the question.
Let me read you the testimony of one of the witnesses.
You're saying the people who are involved in this, even if they say they're not victims, that they're still going to try and attack me and pretend they're victims.
They are treated as victims by the case that's ongoing. And not all of them are saying that. One of the witnesses says...
We can't go into the case. The case is open and active.
Well, let's just be clear that not all of the witnesses in the case are behaving in the way you describe. And even those that are, it doesn't bar them from being treated as victims by the prosecution by the case.
We have an open criminal investigation. I am absolutely not really sure I'll be found innocent. I know the case better than you. I know it intimately and you don't. I have seen all the criminal files and the evidence against me and you haven't. I know the truth of what happened and you don't. And I'm telling you absolutely not really, I've never hurt anybody, that the case that's been put against me is completely and utterly fabricated. And I'm never going to be found guilty of anything. And it's very difficult for me to answer your in-depth questions because we're sitting here inside of the territory of Romania. I'm beholden to the Romanian legal system. And I'm not going to incriminate myself because you're trying to prod me. You are wrong, and we're going to have to accept that for now and talk about something else.
Let me read you then what you have said about what you have done.
Sure.
You have said, my job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
I don't think that's what I personally said. I think that's
exactly what
no,
you said.
That's no, I've never said that. That's something that you found on the internet. Doesn't mean I've said it. And again, once again, if any female on the planet has a problem with me, I strongly recommend her to go to the police and try and pursue me for criminal charges. It's actually very interesting that me, one of the most famous people in the world, who's been vilified by the legacy media and places all over the internet, while everyone has attacked me from every single angle, while federal agencies from multiple countries have called over 2,000 women who know me, we stand here with 0 new accusations since my arrest. 0. If you took any famous person, any man of substantial wealth, and you called 2,000 women who knew him, he'd find an ex-girlfriend is upset, somebody who wants money who's upset. They called 2,000 people who knew me and could not find a single woman to make a new complaint. The only complaints they have against me are the initial complaints, which we can prove are lies, and that's where it stands. So I'm not going to sit here and allow you to pretend that I'm some kind of evil predator, when actually I'd argue the fact that people who've been investigated to the level I've been investigated to, if you were to take the average man on the street and investigate his entire life for 14 months, call everyone who's ever known him, and vilify him in the media, and encourage people to come forward for money, and you try to contact every ex-girlfriend that's ever had.
Would come forward and accuse those people of rape and accuse those people
I think that you would have a lot more. I think you would have a lot more flack than I've got. I'm actually such a nice person that I've never had anyone come at me.
The BBC has spoken to somebody since your arrest who says exactly those things. That with you, it's all manipulation. There's an ulterior.
Is this Sophie?
Everything.
Is this Sophie? Oh, Sophie, the fake name, no face,
I was so
the
intent
story that
on
was
wanting
invented.
to please him and wanting him to be happy that I was just kind of, yeah, okay, do whatever you want.
And what is she
That's
accused? Has she accused me of a crime? This imaginary Sophie?
She's making the point that there is
Has she accused me of a crime?
emotional or psychological manipulation.
I've asked you a question, and I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you a question.
Correct, but you're not the boss here, because I've allowed you into my house
I'm asking you the question.
correctly, and I'm telling you.
You get to decide the answers.
No, we're equal here. I've allowed you into my house. You don't come here with a position of authority. I'm doing you the favor as legacy media, giving you relevance by speaking to you. And I'm telling you now, this Sophie, which the BBC has invented, which there's no face of, nobody knows who she is.
The
and
BBC did not invent.
Of course not. And because you never invent anything. And she's not filed criminal charges against me. What are we talking about here? What is she saying?
We're talking about emotional manipulation
Has
into the sex industry for your financial gain.
Absolute garbage. She has not filed criminal, this person, if they exist, has not filed criminal charges against me. I welcome anybody who believes I've harmed them, male or female, any point in the past to file criminal charges against me, and I will fight them. I know who I am, and I know what I've done, and I know the truth, and I know that I'll be found innocent of this attack. The reason I'm being attacked is because of my massive influence, not because I've ever hurt anybody. And for you to sit here and say that everybody around you is saying you're innocent, but that doesn't matter because the state will say they're victims, and they're just going to grab everybody you know and call everybody victims, even if they say they're not, and try and put you in jail. You are describing a matrix attack. You're not describing human trafficking.
I'm describing women who are going to court to accuse you of rape and human trafficking.
We will see what women go. We will see what women go to court at the end of this trial. We'll see which women go to court.
Can I finish, please?
We'll see which women go to court.
I'm describing women who are going to court to accuse you of rape and human
Sophie
trafficking.
hasn't gone to court. Sophie doesn't exist.
And I'm describing women who have spoken to the BBC at length.
Sophie doesn't exist.
And other media organisations about what they say is emotional manipulation and coercion. And I'm quoting back to you your own words where you describe
They're not my words.
Coercion.
They're words you
found.
found. They're words you found on the internet, and Sophie doesn't exist.
On your
so let's move on to
website,
the next subject.
In your voice.
Move on to the next subject.
No, I think I'll stick on this one for a minute. So there's other places in that same website where you say you get girls to fall in love with you and they do it because they love you, because they want to do what you say. Convincing women to take part in some kind of business arrangement doesn't work long term because they're emotional. You've got to get them to fall in love with you. That's coercion, that's emotional manipulation, that's abuse.
What you've found are clips from the internet, some text from the internet, and you're going to sit here and tell me that that's the reason I should be
Your website, your words.
It's not my website.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Check my website. Next.
It's the website you've taken down, and I wonder why those comments have been taken down.
No website's been taken down. My website is the same. It's been the same for a very long time.
The comments on this website, on the original website, have been taken down, and I wonder why.
You are accusing me, I'm guessing, what you're trying to say is you're accusing me and you're trying to say that I'm guilty of the things I'm accused of and that I'm emotionally manipulating people.
I'm saying that you have said you emotionally manipulated people here for your own financial gain.
No, absolutely not.
And I'm asking you about that.
Absolutely not is the answer. I look forward to the end of this trial. I look forward to clearing my name. I look forward to the BBC and the legacy media having to say not guilty and having to tell the truth. As I've said before, the only other person who's been found, despite absolute rigorous, destructive levels of investigation and prodding into my life, is this imaginary Sophie by the BBC who doesn't exist. And if you were to find any single other man on earth and try and analyze his life forensically to the level they've done mine, you would find genuine damage to people. I don't hurt people.
It's not just
Thousands of women have come out in my defense. Thousands of women have come out in my defense, and you've not mentioned that. Thousands of women come out in my defense.
Because the problem is when women accuse you of serious crimes.
Okay,
and emotional
but
manipulation.
let's agree that
That's
thousands of women. Let's agree that
it's
thousands.
not the problem that some people say you haven't done it. It's a problem that some people say you have.
Thousands of women come out in my defense, and as we stand right now, we have an open criminal investigation.